everybody, this is another one brand tutorial, and this one is going to be all using Wet n Wild products. So I've gotten a lot of requests to do a one brand tutorial with this brand. It is probably one of the most affordable makeup brands that's out there, and I'll also be including a tutorial on one of the new 8-pan palettes. So Sparkle Till Morning will be featured in this video if you want to see that particular eye tutorial. It's a nice opportunity to see how a brand's products work together to create one look, and then you'll see at the end sort of some reviews on each of the different products that I did use. So I hope you enjoy it. Alrighty, I'm going to start out taking my Ultimate Match foundation here, and this is an SPF 15 liquid foundation. My shade is Beige. No pump on this bottle, so I'm going to shake some out in a really small opening here too. I'm just going to dot this around on my face, and now I'm just going to use my Sigma brush here, the F82, to buff it in. All in all, this is kind of a liquidy foundation, but not liquidy enough to just run right out of the bottle. Like, I really had to try to shake it out of there, which was actually kind of time consuming. It took me a while to get enough out so I could sort of dot it all over my face and get to this point. Coverage is kind of light to medium. I mean, I feel like it sort of evened out the skin tone as a whole, but it wasn't heavy enough to cover up different areas here and there that I'll need to use some concealer on. Next, I have a concealer, and it is the Cover All Stick in light medium. So this is just one of your traditional stick concealers, so I'm going to dot this around some obvious areas here where I think I need a little help. Little redness around the nose, any other spots. I'm gonna use this a little bit under my eye as well. These concealers tend to be kind of thick feeling, and I don't typically like to use them around the eye, but it is really all I have from this brand to use as a concealer. So I'm just going to use my finger to sort of press this into the skin, hopefully break down some of the thickness a little bit with just the heat of my finger here. Actually pretty decent coverage though around my face. I was able to take care of a blemish over here, a little bit of under eye drama and whatnot. Not too bad around the nose either. Now I know Wet n Wild makes a pressed powder. I don't have that right now, and I really don't think it's too necessary. I feel like I have a pretty matte finish on my face as is. And this time of year, I don't really get too oily either, but I do have a bronzer, and it's the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in Bikini Contest. Here's a look at that. It's a really large size bronzer. It does have an SPF of 15 in it. It may have just the slightest like satiny finish to it, not 100% matte, but it's going to be matte enough for our needs today, I think. So I'm just going to take a large powder brush, and I'm going to sort of dust this in the area where I would normally contour, right here under my cheekbone. And I'm also going to take it down under my jaw. Now, Wet n Wild also has a great highlight that's sold in this same sort of format, and it's called Reserve Your Cabana. And I actually gave that to a friend who was really needing a good highlight, and so that was what I recommended to her. It's great. It's not too shimmery. You may have seen it in my highlight dupes video. It's just a really great highlight, and so I gave that to her, and I don't have that right now, but the blush that we're going to use is going to give us a little bit of a glow anyway. Definitely going to take this up around my hairline too. For blush, I'm using a shade that I love. It's called Pearlescent Pink. It's got kind of a golden shimmer to it, so definitely a glowy type of blush. Not all the blushes are that way, but this one is, and because I'm not using a highlight, that's kind of the look I want. So I'm just going to sort of swirl this on the outer part of the apple of my cheek and sweep it up. It's a light pink, but it really gives a gorgeous flush to the cheeks here. So Wet n Wild doesn't have an actual eye primer, but I am going to use a couple of cream products from the brand as sort of a base for this look. This shade is called Pixie, and it's a really light pearly color. So with that, I'm just going to sort of encircle the tear duct area, and also bring this up and kind of draw this in about halfway onto the lid. Then pat it just to make sure you can pick up any excess product that way. Then I have a darker shade called Graphite, which is like a gunmetal color, and that I'm just going to draw on the outer part here, and then pat over that as well. The shadows are really, really pigmented as is, but this will just give them a little something extra to cling to since we don't have primer. Then I'm going to my Sparkle Till Morning 8-pan palette here, and I'm going to use this Brow Bone shade. It's sort of a pinky toned highlight type color, and pick some of that up with a flat brush. And I'm just going to pat that over the inner part of the eye here. Next, I'm using the same brush, and I'm going to go to this shade labeled Crease. It's kind of a medium brown, and I'm going to pat that on the outer part of the lid here. And just kind of overlap it with that sort of pinky color. I love these two shades side by side. Taking a crease brush with that same color, I'm actually going to pull that up into the crease a little bit, just with a little product on the brush. So we've got this nice warmth starting to come up from the crease. Then using a flat brush, I like using a flat brush here because it can give me an even more targeted application. I'm using this definer shade, really rich, sparkly brown color. With this color, I'm going to pat this on the outermost corner here. And I'm also going to pat it up into the crease, like really wedging the point of this brush into the crease. And starting to let some of that color come just up above the crease a little bit here. Then I'm going to take my crease brush again, and we're just going to lightly blend the outer corner, the outer edge of that out. These shades blend so easily. And because we already had that shade in the crease, remember that medium brown, it's really gonna make the blending even easier because it's gonna go right on top of that. But we're keeping the darkness mainly on the outside here. Next, I'm taking a small angled liner brush, and we're gonna go to that definer shade again, that dark brown. I'm going to go right under my lower lash line. You can see we're just keeping that darkness right there, and I'm taking it all the way under. Right up in between the lashes. We're not going for a real thick line here, and you'll see why in a second. You could use another liner brush, or I just have like a small smudger brush it's small enough to give me enough control for this step. And I'm going to this definer shade. Now this is a really bold teal blue, and you could really lay it on and make it bright, but because we're going under this brown and just sort of overlapping the brown, you can see we have that little bit of green, but it's muted, and that's what I want for this look. This almost gives us a deep green tone, which I think is really pretty, overlapping with the brown. So with that, you're just going just under, slightly overlapping what you did with the brown, all across the lower lash line. I got like a little more than I wanted there in one area, so I'm going to go back with the brown. Or may not have gotten enough brown to begin with. But I want my lash line area itself to be kind of dark, and then just have the greenish pop underneath. Couple more steps here with the shadow. I'm taking this crease color, one of my favorite shades in this palette. It's kind of coral, kind of coppery, and I'm taking my crease brush, getting a little bit of that shade on there, and with this, we're going to take this above all the action happening there in the crease and above the crease, and this is just going to give us that nice, warm, very fall-like, beautiful color there up above, coming on top of the brow bone. Still left some room for a highlight there just under the brow, and the color we're going to use for that is this buttery shade right here. It says brow bone. I'm using just a fluffy brush for that, so it can really go where I want it to go, but be soft enough. Now I'm going to put away the shadow and do a couple things with liner. I'm using this Mega Last eyeliner in Blackest Black. So this is a pencil that you don't have to sharpen, and then it has a smudger tip at the end. And I'm just drawing this on my waterline. The liquid liner, which is Mega Liner. I've used it so much I've worn off the label. We're just doing really basic eyeliner across the upper lash line. Just taking it all the way across, and I'm not winging it out. I mean, the shadow is doing a lot of different things with this look. We've got below the eye, above the eye, outer corner, so I just want the eyeliner to define my lash line. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and fill in my brows a little bit. This is the Kohl Brow Eyeliner pencil, one of those really long, like 99-cent pencils, so you could use it as an eyeliner or a brow product, and the shade is dark brown. It's a little bit darker than I would want, and it's a little bit softer than I like. I'm barely applying any pressure here, So I can just really lightly fill in a little sparse area there. Gonna really lightly run it over the rest of my brow. Then I'm gonna curl my lashes. Then I'm using this Mega Lash Clinical Mascara, which I haven't been using long enough to be able to tell you if there is a lash growth effect from this. As you can see, the brush is actually kind of flat when you hold it that way, and then you can see the bristles are kind of long on either side. So not a bad brush to work with by any means, and with a couple of coats it's actually pretty buildable. It's helping out my length. It's not giving me a ton of volume. I'm going to do a little bit on the lower lashes too. For lips, I'm using the Mega Shield lipstick. This is a relatively new lipstick line for Wet n Wild, and they have, I believe they have an SPF 15 in them, yeah. And this shade is called Birthday Suit. It's kind of a shimmery nude. This is the Wet n Wild liner number 666 in Brandy Wine. I'm deepening them up on the outside here. And this is just kind of a deep neutral lip liner. I'm using my Glassy gloss, and I'm just using the clear shade. Actually, I have several colors in this, and I think it's a pretty good gloss. But I'm just going to give my lips some extra shine by going all over with that. So for my little reviews on the different products, starting out talking about the face, just basically foundation and concealer as far as the coverage products go. I think the look is overall pretty good. The Ultimate Match Foundation is not my favorite just in terms of the way it is. I feel like it's got a really small little opening here and it takes forever to get the amount of product out that you want. But once it goes on, it's definitely not a shimmery foundation in any way. It has an overall fairly matte appearance. It's not amazing coverage, but it's definitely not as minimal as you might find with like a tinted moisturizer or a BB cream. Just kind of average on the foundation, nothing wowing me incredibly, nothing super bad about it. The coverall stick, I used it on a blemish, I used it in the under eye, and I used it on any other spots or redness on my face, and it did okay really with the coverage, but I think the texture is more the concern with that. If you have really dry skin or dry patches that are still maybe red or something you want to cover up, you may find it really clinging to those areas. I feel like with the face products here, this is where the brand is lacking just a little bit, is some different, you know, maybe an updated foundation and an updated concealer would be nice. I really like this Color Icon bronzer in Bikini Contest. I think this is pretty good. It's not 100% matte, which would be nice, but as a whole it gets the job done for a bronzer, and it's a great amount of product to be able to use all over. And I also love this blush, and I love some of the other blush shades as well, but this one I thought was really pretty, gave a pretty pink glow to the cheeks, not too much. It only took a little bit of product to get that color. Moving on to the eye products, you guys know I love their palettes, their 8-color palettes, their trios and stuff like that. I think they're tremendous quality. This is a look I've been kind of playing with all week. This was the first time I took the green pop of color underneath. I think it looks very fall, and I think it's very appropriate for the season. These blend so easily. I can't say enough about the Wet n Wild shadows. If this is a brand that you have not visited in a while because your last experience years ago with Wet n Wild shadows wasn't so good, try these out because they last forever. It doesn't take much to get this kind of a look, and they blend so seamlessly. I just really enjoy those. The shadow sticks that I used are pretty good. They remind me a lot of the NYX Jumbo eyeshadow sticks. They're just a little bit shorter than those, but I use these as an alternative to a primer. I feel like I use primer with this like all the time. I use either Too Faced Shadow Insurance or I use the NYX HD eyeshadow base, and the staying power is really great with these, with a typical eyeshadow base. I don't know that it will be as good because I didn't use a primer this time, but this definitely gives the shadows a little something to cling to, so it may help out on the staying. Not nuts about this Mega Last liner in the pencil form. I feel like it wasn't as intense of a black as I would have liked. It really doesn't measure up to some of those creamier eyeliners from high-end brands. It also is not as good as like Maybelline Master Drama. That would be the equivalent at the drugstore that would be better than this, and better staying power too. This kind of is already fading a little bit in the waterline. The Mega Liner, the liquid, is great. there's no problem with that at all. A nice opaque black, not watery liquid liner that you can use, and it did exactly what I needed. The Mega Lash Clinical Mascara, I have not used this long enough to be able to tell you what the effects are with it, but it's definitely better than the other ones I've tried from this line. I feel like it gave my lashes a little more thickness, quite a bit more length, and I could build with it for a couple of coats and actually get a look that I was happy with. I used the classic Kohl Brow eyeliner, just the 99-cent dark brown on my eyebrows. It ended up in the end, I think, looking okay, but you had to really be careful with it. It was so creamy, and actually, you know, in retrospect, this would have been a nice liner to use in the waterline because it was so nice and creamy. And then this one that was a little bit drier might have been a better formula for the brows. For lips, if you're looking for a great classic lip liner, the number 666 Brandy Wine 99-cent shade is really, really nice. It's kind of like a deep neutral color, so you can use it with a lot of different lip colors just to define a little bit. I mean, with this lipstick, the Mega Shield, which I love this formula, I think these feel like a lip balm, but it was really light, so I was able to add a little dimension to the lips and actually make them look more full because I was making them darker on the outsides and keeping that pop of brightness on the center part. And then the Glassy gloss is just a nice classic clear lip gloss. Can't complain about this. It's comfortable on my lips. It gave me that little bit of shine that I wanted. As a whole, lip products and eye products, even the color cosmetics for the face like the blush and the bronzer, really, really good from Wet n Wild. I would like to just see some updates where their foundation and their concealer products are concerned. I would have to say it is probably the most improved brand from the drugstore from what I can see in my time using makeup. From the things in their 99-cent range to the stuff that's a little more pricey like their eyeshadows, I feel like nothing really goes above like $5 for this brand, and I think that makes it really easy for people. The next one brand tutorial will be a high-end brand, so let me know what you want to see, and thanks again for watching. Bye guys.